Hello, this week we will be working on assignment 11. So be sure to go to the week 12 module. It ends this Sunday. Be sure to read the week 12 overview. All these items will give you information about the program that we're writing. Of course, the chapter 7 PowerPoint. This is the link to this video. There's only one video, so I'll be showing you arrays and the pseudocode for assignment 11. So let's go ahead and look at assignment 11. So assignment 11, basically we'll be working with arrays. And arrays aren't as terrible as they might seem just because it's new to you. But it's actually pretty good, because you can use the same variable to hold different numbers. So in this program, or in this assignment, we're going to create a program that allows the user to enter 10 values into an array. Then the program should display the largest and the smallest values in the array. Well, it's actually going to determine what the largest and the smallest values are in the array. And then we're going to store them. Then you will loop to read in the numbers. Then you have another loop to find the largest and the smallest number. Now, you only want to display the largest and the smallest numbers. So you don't have to put them in order. You just have to determine which one is largest and which one is the smallest. So let's go ahead and start with our pseudocode. Okay, so pseudocode, great way to start is to say declare variables, input, processing, and then output. So what is, okay, well, when we go up to variables, I just mentioned that an array is a list of variables, but they're not stored with different names of variables. They're using the same variable, but they're just adding something at the end. And I'll show you the PowerPoint here. Basically, at the end of the variable, see how hours is used over and over again, but there's just a number that represents the different position in the array. So there's position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So always remember that it starts with 0. So when you declare the constant as a 6, when you initialize it as a 6, and you put that variable into the brackets here at the beginning, you're saying that there will be 6 numbers in this array. So here's all 6. Okay, so basically let's go ahead and declare that array variable just like it is in the PowerPoint, and it's on slide 12. So we declare variables, and it will be integers. We're just going to enter numbers, and let's go ahead and call it numbers. And then we're going to have how many spots? And let's just say 5. The example says 6, but I'm going to say 5 because it can be any number of numbers or any number of variables. Okay, so input. Well, if we go back to the assignment, it says that you will loop to read in the numbers. So that means that your input, when you say enter numbers, it automatically tells you that it's going to be in a loop. So you already know that's in a loop. Then you know that when people enter information, you have to accept the information. And so both of those will be in a loop. Okay, then it also says that you need another loop to find the largest and the smallest numbers. So we'll add that here in our processing section. Okay, so determine larger and smaller. Okay, then your output would be display larger number and display smaller number. Okay, and that is not in a loop. Now, the reason why we have this in a loop is because remember we have this array variable. And this array variable, what we can do is have a loop that will change this number every time it increments. So int numbers, and anytime they enter a number, it's going to actually store that number inside the array. Now let's just say, and this is actually going to change. So somehow, how can we say that there's a variable here that's going to change every time it goes into a loop? Now there's different loops that you can use, so it's up to you which one you use. But just make sure that the loop somehow it has a way to increment x, which is the number here, or this variable here in the array. Okay, then we have processing, which is determining the larger and determining the smaller. And I'll actually put it in two separate lines. And again, we need this loop. Now, what is this loop for? Why do we have to do this loop? Well, because we have to go through every one of the positions in the array. Okay, so when we're looping through all of these, we have to determine the larger and the smaller. Now, how do we do that? Well, think back in another program that you wrote, we compared two different strings. Well, we're doing the same thing here, but instead of a string, we're comparing integers. Okay, once you determine which one is the larger and which one is the smaller, then you do your output. Display a larger number, display a smaller number. And that is it. There is no input validation you need to verify, and there's no other thing that you need to add. So let me go ahead and show you an example I created. This is a real quick and small program, and all it does is first it has a constant, so this time we're actually using a constant instead of initializing the amount in the array here. We're basically determining the amount in the array right here. So number is the variable that we're using as the array. Then we have count, which we're using in a for loop this time, because the for loop increments, it sets a way to stop, and then it starts with 0. Remember that arrays start with 0. So this is 5, so it's actually going to be 0 through 4. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so anyway, so it's going to go into this loop, and just like we've done loops before, it's just going to do cout. So it's going to ask for something, it's going to input something, and then it's going to output what you entered. The only difference is we have square brackets here with a variable inside, which means that this is an array. So every time you go through this loop, it's going to remember each number that you enter in each position in the array. So let me go ahead and run it. Okay, so I'm going to enter a number greater than 0, another one, and it should only do it 5 times. There. So basically all it did was just repeat whatever number I entered. So it's just like a variable, it's just different in that it's more efficient than using a lot of different variables. Okay, and that's pretty much it. So best of luck to you.